Dan, do you know who we are?
I do.
We are media fuckers! Woo! Men Online.
Spoilers ahead for Plane 2023. And I'm surprised to this point I haven't said 2022 when doing these, but anyways. So, a pilot finds himself caught in a war zone after he's forced to land his commercial aircraft during a terrible storm. Which is a perfect synopsis. Starring Gerard Butler, Mike Coulter, who is the prisoner. Gerard Butler's character's name is Brody Torrance. If this isn't an 80s action movie dragged and dropped to 2022, I don't know what is.
That's exactly what it is.
One thing I'm glad about off the top is that Gerard Butler doesn't try and do an accent. You know, like one opportunity that I think they missed right in the beginning. So Gerard Butler is doing a flight, and then he's going to meet his daughter in the Maui or some shit.
I thought it was Hawaii.
Why? Okay. And they have to go through bad weather, of course, because, you know, if the weather was clear, then he probably wouldn't be a very good captain.
I mean, it'd be a really short movie. They just got there successfully.
Yeah, or he just crashed because he didn't know how to work the controls.
Whoopsie daisy!
What's this button do? They have to transport a criminal from A to B. It's a extradition treaty. They found a guy who killed somebody 15 years ago, and they're bringing him back to... I didn't catch where they were bringing him. Like, if this was a layover situation, or if that's just where they were going, but... One opportunity they missed with the captain voice, or with the captain like over the thing, is he sounded like Gerard Butler. So immediately I didn't believe this movie at all. Because every captain, as soon as they get on the horn, they all have that.
I never appreciate when the captain's really funny. I don't want to hear any jokes. I don't care about the weather. I can look up what time it is. What I want from you is, are we on time? Has everything been expected? And thank you for flying with us. That's all. That's all I need. I don't want to hear any jokes. I don't care. I don't care where your son's going to college. And I damn sure don't want to hear any jokes about the mechanics.
I have a very big question for you about the whole setup of this movie. Mm-hmm. So there's an electrical failure. Apparently the plane's struck by lightning. Butler has to find a place to land. Or sorry, Brody has to find a place to land. I gotta call him Brody this whole thing. And they're coming up over a clearing, right? They pass the mountains and they see water and decide to try and land on this narrow piece of road. Why didn't they just land on the water?
That was my question. Like my only thought was like maybe they were hoping that there would be like it would be like a civilized place. So like, oh, look, there's a field to land in. Like we'll land in a peanut farm or somewhere like that. Like they're hoping to land somewhere with resources. Is my only guess. Because how many like islands have nothing on it? Probably not many. Like if an island's been able to land a plane on, someone's probably like using it for their yachts or their
military.
Exactly.
Well, like it seemed like the safest bet. Like, so the plane didn't burst into flames if you ripped open the gasoline hole trying to land, in trees. Was just to land on the water, because I don't know,
because, I mean, I imagine landing on the landing itself is probably safer because, like, water's softer than dirt. Yeah. But if anyone, like, takes a bump on the way down, you've got to get, like, an unconscious person off of the plane before, like, the plane fills with water. Whereas as long as the plane doesn't catch on fire, which it shouldn't because you can dump the fuel, then as long as the plane, the plane can sit there, you can spend 30 minutes getting them off the plane. Like, because the passengers are all useless. And the flight attendants probably can't drag, a full-grown man out of the plane before it goes under. So it's going to be just Brody with his head injury trying to get everyone out of there.
Would it go under, though?
I think so. Yeah, because I'm pretty. I mean, aluminum is heavier than water.
Well, I was just thinking from the
aluminum cans don't float.
Sure, they do.
No, they're at the bottom of the lake.
Can?
Aluminum can, yeah.
Well, that's because they take on water. That's what I mean. So
I think the plane is not airtight, and it certainly won't be airtight after a crash landing.
That's what I was thinking. Because if it wasn't airtight, wouldn't like the speed of the air like rip it? You know what I mean? As soon as like if you put a bullet hole in the side, that's what I've seen Passenger 57 and movies like that. If you shot a piece of the plane, as soon as that little hole, it like rips apart, right?
Well, depressurization is different than a crash landing. I imagine they depressurize before they crash land. Or before they land, period.
If you are a pilot, let us know in the comments below.
I imagine that the act of landing on water instead of a runway would do enough damage that you wouldn't still be seaworthy.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. And I wonder if planes have like a some sort of flotation devices that would deploy to keep it from taking on water. I don't know. But speaking of, you were mentioning if somebody got injured on the way down, the cop who transports the prisoner dropped his phone and decided, you know what, I really got to make this call, or I got to see what happens at the end of Ozark. So he gets up while the plane is like, crashing. And one of the flight attendants, gets up to like get him back in his seat, and they both break their fucking necks because the plane's shaking.
That guy weighs like 230 pounds. She's not getting him back in his seat anyway. What'd you do? Tap him on the shoulder? Excuse me, sir. No, just stay on your seat.
So they crash. Well, they land, and they're in this big open field. Obviously, they've had no power. Butler and the co-pilot are doing this little thing where they're like, oh, if we ran out of electricity here, this is the radius we could be. And, it's a whole thing. All of the necks were broken in this movie.
Yeah, apparently the plane has 10 minutes of battery. But then they managed to go 3,000 miles. 10 minutes, 300. I mean, if you're going 400 miles an hour, which is fast for a commercial airliner, it's less than 200 miles, right? That's like 100 miles. I don't know the math on it, but I mean, I think they said it was like a massive search area. But I'm like, if you're in the air, you can see a long ways, right? But I had a couple of questions. Like, first of all, why doesn't the plane have a satellite phone? Shouldn't you have like a spare satellite phone, just like in a tinfoil bag somewhere, just because planes do get struck by lightning?
Yeah, just in case you're flying over the ocean and might possibly crash. I don't know. Do they explain that away because part of the movie is like, oh, he's only doing this on like shitty airlines?
Maybe. Yeah. I would totally believe that Spirit Airlines wouldn't be prepared for issues over the water. But I also can't believe in a world where Spirit Airlines has an empty seat. Also, on Spirit Airlines, no one would notice a fugitive being handcuffed. They wouldn't notice at all. There's no way you'd notice that on Spirit Airlines.
And they certainly wouldn't have the resources to rescue the plane.
Yeah. It'd be like, only way someone would notice is, why is that guy being slightly quiet? They make a landing on a road that is more than wide enough for an airplane. They land next to an excavator, which is pretty random. Aim for that caterpillar. And I love the argument of why the captain decides to go for a walkabout to try and find help. And he brings the dangerous, insanely jacked murderer with him because, and I quote, "we can't tie him up." Yes, you can. He's wearing handcuffs. Those are just metal tie. He's already tied up. Yeah, it's not a knot. It's a metal knot instead of a rope knot.
The whole premise is Gerard Butler and Mike Colter's characters are they're trying to find help. In the meantime, the like local army, who's like some sort of militia that fended off, like, what did they say?
They are waiting for Nicolas Cruz to show up.
Gerard Butler does something that annoys me to no end, and he finally finds a phone. He calls this woman from the plane company, and she's like, sir.
Oh my God.
Stop fucking pranking us, you asshole.
What's more unrealistic? The fact that the pilot didn't have a better number to call, or two, that he actually got a hold of a person? Yeah, but like, why would he call her? Like, doesn't he have like a code? Like, he has to know someone in the towers, right? Like, he's a very experienced airline pilot.
Yeah.
Surely he has like a handful of numbers that he can call. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy that like lost his phone and doesn't know anyone's phone number. Which, by the way, that is 100% me.
But he had his phone as soon as
his phone. You're right.
The thing that Gerard Butler does that pisses me off is that he finally finds a phone. He calls the woman. She blows him off because she's horrible at her job or whatever. Then he calls his daughter, right? That's all well and good. He gives her the information about where they could be based on the radius that he and the co-pilot did before he left. Then a dude comes in and starts whipping his ass, right?
Yeah.
He grabs the phone and rips it out of the wall.
Yeah, he needs that phone for reasons.
For no fucking reason. He doesn't use the receiver that he ripped out of the wall to smash the guy's face.
He doesn't try to grab the guy with the wire. Nope.
Right. Nothing. He rips it out of the wall and then proceeds to fight the guy. Which I thought the fight was pretty solid because it felt like two guys in their 40s.
Yeah.
Who were like struggling against each other. Because some of these movies just, it's more like a choreographed dance. But this felt like, okay, we're both pushing each other's faces so one of us can get the advantage with the first punch. And then, it felt way more realistic. And Gerard Butler was fucking winded after, which I'm like, yes, this is how people are after fights.
The only thing could be better is if he'd like tweaked his shoulder a little bit.
Yeah.
And then like the rest of the movie, he wasn't quite the same. When like he's on the phone and the guy surprises him and it's like a big jump scare. Only the guys behind him are like, ah!
Yeah, you're probably not expecting jump scares in a movie like that. So Gaspard, who's Mike Coulter's character. Is it Gaspard or Gaspar?
I'm gonna call him Gaston.
Okay, Gaston comes through and starts icing folks.
Yep,
and saves Gerard Butler. Well, he doesn't save Gerard Butler from the guy he was fighting because Gerard Butler breaks his neck. Mm-hmm. But he saves
two other guys, yeah.
Yes, from the dudes in the stairwell with assault rifles.
And he shows up like, here's your assault rifle.
Oh, we didn't mention when they're on their way to that building to get the phone, Gaspard disappears. He's like, oh, I guess this guy fucked off and he's just on his own.
Yeah, like they have a moment where you're not sure if the pilot's gonna be like murdered by the fugitive guy because he's like, do you have my knife? No, I don't have your knife. Did you bring the gun? And then he's like, I'm gonna turn my back to you and start walking now. And then he looks back and the guy's just gone like Batman. What did he expect to happen? Like, let me just turn my back on this very jacked guy after not answering those questions about a gun.
Yeah.
I thought he was about to go to sleep and wake up with no gun.
This guy, Gaspar, is my favorite character in this movie because as they're heading back, they see Brody Torrance and Gaspar are heading back to the plane after they want to relay the information that they've made a phone call, that there are people with guns on the island, that kind of thing. And they get back and the military, the militia, whatever, are already at the plane, like getting ready to capture everybody. And this is when one of the ladies tries to run away and they just... How many bullets does he fire into her?
Like 10.
Let that be a lesson to anyone. And then they decapitate her husband for some reason.
Because he wouldn't calm down.
No.
It's like we don't want any of the panicky hostages. We want the like you have the fight or flight or freeze response. They were culling out everyone except for the freeze response.
That's fair.
That's just good hostage management policy.
Yeah. And it also sends a message.
The message is stand very still.
Yeah.
One thing that annoyed me a little bit was Brody didn't seem to respect the fact that the guy who was a paratrooper commando in the Foreign Legion might know something that he doesn't. Because they're driving down this road and he's like, stop the car. What? Well, there's no what. Stop the car. The Navy SEAL says stop the car. You say how fast, sir? Please keep me alive, Mr. Special Ops. I'm an airline pilot. I'm just gonna follow lead on here. Actually, do you want to drive? You should probably drive this.
Yeah, so they have to witness that whole thing from a distance, and they round up everyone in like a big old tourist van, and bring them back to their little camp. And they leave a few people behind to steal, quote, the iPads.
They have some very nice vehicles for isolated landlocked pirates. I mean, Pirates on an Island. Like,
yep.
I'll be honest, I've gone to church in worse vehicles.
Yeah, and the van that Gerard Butler hijacks is like a 2013 Toyota Tacoma, so it's pretty decent.
I mean, Cuba is green with envy right now.
Yeah, they just got in the 1970s models in Cuba.
They just got the vehicles that the light crew uses. There's an entire romance subplot between Brody and that stewardess, and they just cut it out.
Yep, 100%.
Like the end of it, it's like, okay, they're gonna make out now. Nope, they don't. They definitely recorded and cut that out. There's no way they did not cut that out. I didn't imagine that, right?
No, because she stays back after everyone like congratulates him and thanks him for saving them. She stays back and comes back to talk to him and like puts her hand on his shoulder. It's like this was meant to be something else.
They had to like make a few cuts to keep the rating down, and they're like, oh, we'll just cut out that part.
Yeah, it was definitely PG-13 because the decapitation they cut away and you just see like a little bit of blood splash. But they move in and they want to kill one of the guys and like capture the other one to get information out of him. After they do, Gerard Butler goes up in the plane so he can write a little note to, if they find the plane, blah, blah, blah. Gaspar makes the one guy drag the guy that he killed, into the woods so that he could shoot the guy because he didn't want to have to drag either of them. Got to conserve that energy. That was immediately when I'm like, yes, I fucking love this guy.
What did they do with the bodies of the people that the pirates killed?
I don't know.
Because when the special ops team shows up, they don't seem to find the bodies because they're confused about what happened. They don't like have like the whole pointing the iPad at those people. Did the pirates take them with them?
I'm not sure, honestly. Nobody picked up a head and walked around with it either.
Yeah. My next note is video game stealth.
Yeah. So they head to
Let me
camp.
crouch in this bush and be invisible.
Yes. And they do freaking Splinter Cell ops moves.
Yeah.
So the idea is to rescue the hostages, obviously. So it turned into a survival movie, turned into a hostage rescue movie, and then an island escape movie. I love this fucking movie. Oh, by the way, we didn't mention the whole time there's like a subplot of like this couple of big wigs at the plane company trying to find the plane.
The only reason they went through that storm is to save like $12,000 of fuel.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you this question. If it was dangerous, why didn't our protagonist put his foot down and say, no, I'm not flying through that storm? I'm pretty sure the pilot has the authority to go, no, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah, you're going to lose more money if I don't fly this plane.
Like, imagine if there was a movie where, like, a surgeon had to put in, an off-brand fake hip.
In a storm.
No, not in a storm. Like he's doing a hip transplant, right? Because, like, the belly dancer did too much gyrations and needs a new hip.
Yeah, she did.
Brody still knew he was flying that plane into a bad situation. Either A, it's fine to fly a plane through a storm and they got really, really, really unlucky. A plane could go down just from sheer dumb luck. If two turkeys fly into the jet engines, that thing's going down. And that's just God says you're dying today. Like, that's just what's going to happen. So either A, that situation, and no one's at fault for this tragic accident, in which case that guy's an asshole for yelling at the executive for good flight planning, or B, Brody is just is every bit as much of a asshole as the executive who, like, it was the executive's idea, but he's not the pilot.
They find the plane through some infrared fucking bullshit satellite tactics or whatever.
Yep.
And they send the tactics team en route to come and parachute in, which is, I wish they would have shown that scene.
Yeah, they didn't have the budget for that.
Yeah.
This movie cost $9 million and not a penny more.
The rescue felt so easy to me. So they're doing their Splinter Cell tactics / Metal Gear Solid. The only thing they were missing was like the cardboard box upside down, crouching through. Oh my God, I wish that was a thing.
Yeah, they had two people guarding the hostages, and everyone else was like staring intently at like a barrel of fire.
Brody gets the guy in the chokes.
Gaston starts killing people with a sledgehammer.
Yes, and my wife leans over to me. She goes, "Thor," And I leaned back to her and I was like, Santa Claus. Rescue seems too easy, but they get everyone, they rescue everyone after just the most brutal sledgehammer hit to this guy who's just sitting on the stairs, just right in the face. It's like, this dude's fucking awesome. When they first sneak up on a pair, Gaspar kills his guy while Gerard Butler chokes his, and then he comes over and kills Gerard Butler's guy. This movie could not be effective without Gaspar, and I guess the balance of Gerard Butler's character being too careful really helps elevate him. They don't have a way out. They're gonna get shot down if they try and drive the van out, that fancy ass conversion van.
Well, we know that's not true because they just drive an airplane past those guys later.
Gerard Butler wants to give himself up so that everyone else can escape. They kick his ass for a little while, and then the military tactical crew that was sent out by, apparently the airplane company has their own military. So
United Wetworks.
Yeah. They come out like they have the highest respawn rate. They just come out, no protection. They just are walking forward, popping these dudes. Now they have to escape the island, which involves slowly turning the plane around so they can fly out the way they came in, while 3 of the Wetworks guys and Gaspar shoot. It's kind of embarrassing for whatever military that this island fended off, because they are fucking worthless. They kill 2 people who weren't fighting back. And
then the rest of the bullets just miss completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, this group of very scary terrorists that managed to keep their own island can't hit a 747 airplane.
At first, I'm like, why are they trying to escape? These guys are so worthless, they could just mow them all down. But after the escape, a bunch of extra cars come in, and that was the backup. So they were trying to fly the plane away before the backup arrived.
I thought the big plan was they were going to turn the plane around and get it running, I was going to take off. But then everyone's hiding in the bushes just shoot all the terrorists because all the passengers now have a gun.
Yeah.
And then
use the plane as a decoy. That would have been much better.
And then they set up their own kingdom. But they still have a 20-minute segment where everyone talks about how cool Brody is.
That's true. I mean, he is cool.
I submit to you that the true hero of the story is our man Gaston.
I agree.
Falsely accused, being recorded without his consent by a bunch of jackasses. He then gets uncuffed, escapes, saves the pilot's life, saves the passenger's life, saves the life of the Navy SEALs by helping them. I don't know, probably by killing all the guys that need to be killed anyway. He kills as many people as the Wetworks team, I think. And then he just takes a well-owed $500,000 and leaves. I would say if I was him, I might not have risked my life for a bunch of people that just yelled at me while I was also on an island.
But now he's rich, so
is $500,000
all worked out.
Is $500,000 on an island where you don't know anyone or have any resources rich?
Yes.
Okay, then he's rich.
All he has to do is move to Bratislava or something like that, and he'll be a fucking billionaire. So, where the conversion rate is just insane.
I feel like if you moved there, someone would just murder you and take your money.
Well, not him. You could try. By the way, I need a fucking prequel to this movie with this dude starring this guy, Mike Coulter. I don't want any fucking nonsense either. I don't want any love story. Nothing. I want this dude why he's such a badass in an hour and 47-minute movie. That's it. All right, Hollywood. No need to fucking church it up with some bullshit love story or anything like that. Just have this dude and give him a crew of 3 or 4 other guys, so that way some of them can die.
But he can sacrifice his freedom to save one of them at the end.
Yep, and that's why he's in the position I'm in.
It writes itself.
It does. It really does. So let me give some numbers. We'll give our ratings. So it has not been released internationally worldwide. I'm sorry, the rest of the world. You'll get this movie soon enough. The first weekend, $12,025,000, which is pretty decent. But I think this movie deserves a bit more interest than it's getting. So
it had, as far as I can tell, no advertising. I found out about it because there weren't any other movies in my cinema.
Right.
It's it's either this or I'm rewatching or I'm rewatching Avatar.
Holy shit. Plane production budget, $50 million.
What? On what?
Oh, you had to get the guy with the Jerry curl. He's a big expense. The main villain guy.
Did they buy the island?
There's barely any CGI. The CGI is from like the plane crash and all that. So I don't understand.
Effects are a little weak. I don't know what's going on with the costs. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
I would say it was like, if it would have said like 10 to 15 million, I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah. All right, let's give some ratings and then we'll wrap it on up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a the movie does what it sets out to do, is have a guy and another guy save an airplane not full of people. I'm gonna give it like a 6.5 out of 10. I think nothing is stand out, but like there's nothing really wrong with it either. It is a good go and turn off your brain and just don't worry about why they don't have a satellite phone.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I really enjoyed this movie. It was exactly what I wanted. Just a good old-fashioned action movie, and I love good old-fashioned action movies. This is a 7.8 for me because everything it tried to do. Now, if I compared it to something like The Menu, it's a 6. But in terms of just I wanted to see an action movie, I got an action movie. You know what I mean? It's exactly what I wanted. Let's see. IMDb 1.5 thousand plus ratings for a 7 out of 10. Very respectable. That'll do it for us. So let us know what you thought about Plane. All right. So on that note, we'll catch you guys later with more stuff.